Hey everyone, we are back. We're back with our Friday review podcast, the end cap to our week, before, of course, our community house calls over the weekend, which I love to be able to do. But always on my Friday reviews, I'm going through either a product review, and I have so many coming up for you, so definitely stay tuned for future Friday reviews. Today is a book review. I have our herb of the week, so I'm dedicated for all of this year to making sure that I'm teaching all about great herbalism and herbal herbs that you can use on an everyday basis that can improve, whether it be overall wellness or might be digestive health, it might be body transformation, it might be anti-aging, longevity. So super excited about today's herb as well. We've been using this one now for over a decade in our practice for things like mood and anxiety and allergies and so much more. So I can't wait to share that with you. And then, like I said, a book of the week. And then I have 2 research studies that I think will be a lot of fun, especially for people that have not really got into the healing power of sound. I mean, believe it or not, there's a lot of research on how sound can dramatically improve things like pain, anxiety, and overall healing to get you in more of that parasympathetic. And again, you can do it while you're literally doing anything else. And it's even been shown to boost memory. So I'm going to share that with you all today, but we always get started with our updates from the week. This week, obviously, no different. For me, I'm kind of feeling, I always give you kind of where I'm at right now. Over the past week, I've definitely had, these mixed emotions. Leaving Maine, which we're there for about 2 months, super, grateful that I get to spend those 2 months now, and I have for the last couple of years in Maine. And I love that season. I really do. It's only late June to mid-August, but it is, even though again, I'm working and things are, happening, it's not like it's not, but life just seems a little bit slower. It seems a little bit more peaceful. And as Maine says, it's the way that life should be. I feel that. And so, but there is always that next season. There is always that next chapter. And that is what we're doing now. Many of you know that I'm making a move right now. I'm in the process of moving. And it's going to be a lot of new firsts. I mean, it really is. So this is a time in my life. I think many of us had a lot of new firsts over the last 2 years with the, with the virus, the pandemic. But now it's hopefully transitioning into a more steady way of life. And we've just taken this opportunity to say, hey, let's try something different. Let's try something new. We can always go back if needed, but why don't we do this for our daughters and see how it goes? And so I'm excited. I'll certainly be sharing more about that. And that's more personal side, but on the work side or the practice side, one of the things I'm most excited about, and you'll be hearing more and more about this, is the amazing partnerships we are creating with like-minded health companies in the overall community. Meaning, like, we know that many of you love using clean, toxin-free based products. Well, we don't plan on creating any of those. And so we plan on partnering with amazing companies that already create saunas, that they already create red light. They do all these different things that are phenomenal. And we want to be able to bring those things to you, simply sharing the best companies out there. I've already done the research. And just, again, people behind the companies who put people over profits. So that's what it's all about. I'm super excited. We'll be certainly launching that over this week and next. So again, stay tuned. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter yet, this is where all of this comes out. And you'll find it at stephencabral.com/newsletter. That's it. It's free to sign up. I send out a Sunday email, and I'll be sending out Wednesday emails. Sunday is always kind of my thoughts for the week. I call it my Sunday Rewind, and it's a recap for sure of the different shows. And I always give you my musings on a Sunday morning when I write it early before the family wakes up. And then on Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing just my favorite products. I have over 100 of products that I use myself at stephencabral.com/resources. And I'll be doing a deep dive just on my favorite, like dozen or 2 dozen, the ones that like I couldn't live without, that I use all the time. And so again, the newsletter is free. And you can sign up for it at stephencabral.com/newsletter. Your name and email, of course, would never be sold or anything like that. All right. What's going on at EquiLife this week? Well, we are giving away a free box, which is a $25 value, I believe, of our whole food bars with any qualifying purchase. I just kind of think of it as like, almost that back to school season, right? We're getting there. We're pretty close. Some kids are already back to school. And so these bars, you can't say school safe anymore because you don't exactly know what school is allowing in. But these are nut free and these are free of the most common 7 allergens. Kids love them. Adults love them. These are our free whole food bars. And just a little update on this. The chocolate brownie indulgence and the Sunny Date Delight will be coming back out. It's been a while since we've been able to manufacture those, but coming back out, even more delicious. I'm telling you right now, they are, and we guarantee it. So we're guaranteed that those will be out a little later this year. Definitely stay tuned for it. But you can get your free box of the apple whole food bars, apple cinnamon ones at, again, StephenCabral.com/shop on all qualifying purchases. That includes international as well. All right, recap on the podcast for the week: how to create a new life by crushing your limiting beliefs. I love that one. That was one of my, well, I love the Monday Motivation Mindset Mondays. I really do, because that's how I want to start my week. I start my week with just saying, listen, this is an opportunity. You have an opportunity for another new week. You get 52 of these a year. Like, just don't let this one slip through, right? Like, it's only 52 a year. Take advantage of it. And that's why I love starting my week that way. So check that out. All podcasts, of course, are at StephenCabral.com/podcast. Tuesday's show was really just answering a big question that's been out there. Does iodine intake damage your thyroid or increase Hashimoto's? So I just answered that. And I, of course, gave you the unbiased science, the science on how not to die. So, I mean, it seems extreme, but we know if we look at 8 simple markers, not just blood, I gave you that on a separate show, but like 8 markers in your life. And I just asked you during the show for these 8 things, are you doing this, yes or no? I'm not here to judge. You're hopefully not even judging. You're saying, listen, yes or no? And if it's no, are you willing to change? And if it's a yes, when? And so I go through that on the show. I think hopefully you'll like that one. And then yesterday's show was a case study on stress and testosterone. So I love doing case studies. Of course, I love labs. And so that was yesterday's show. So again, StephenCabral.com/podcast. You will be able to check that out. All right, let's go through our herb of the week before we go through our book review. And this one is an interesting sounding one, but it's not like you think, all right? So this one is called Chinese Skullcap. So when people think of Chinese Skullcap, like, it sounds kind of scary, right? It sounds kind of scary for an herb. And believe it or not, so this herb is extremely helpful. So much so that it's on all sorts of even conventional medicine websites. One of the websites that I found it on was actually on Mount Sinai, obviously a conventional medicine-based hospital and medical-based practice, but they go through on all the different things that it can be used for, such as, this is their terms. Again, I have to give you my disclaimer. I'm not providing any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, or medical cures. But on their website, not mine, it says Chinese Skullcap is and has been used for hundreds of years as a therapy for anxiety, nervousness or nervous tension, and convulsions. It's also been shown to have significant antioxidant effects and may help to protect against neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, anxiety, and depression. There's also some evidence to suggest that it may inhibit food allergy responses. I could go on, but again, this is a very powerful product. It's been shown to help with inflammation, potentially cancer, headaches, allergies, antifungal, antibacterial, and antiviral. So pretty amazing, but how does it get that strange name, Skullcap? Well, it actually comes from a flower, and the flower's name is not what you think. It's Scutella. So it's from the word, it's Latin from the word scutella, and it means little dish. And basically, these Chinese Skullcap flowers they grow in little patches like a little dish, and their top of it is shaped almost like a helmet. And that's, I believe, where it got the name Skullcap. So not to be confused with something else called a death cap, which is a very poisonous mushroom. This is not a mushroom. This is a flower. So the Scutella, a little dish, or like little helmet, and that is exactly what they look like. So I'll try to link up a photo of them as well on episode 2394. All of today's show notes, by the way, all of the research, everything will be at stephencabral.com/2394 if you want to head over there now. So Chinese skullcap, our herb of the week. How do we use it? Well, we mainly use it for stress, nervous system, anxiety, not so much allergies. I'm not against it, but I don't use it specifically for that. And higher levels of tension and adrenal issues. So we use it in a product called Adrenal Soothe. Again, we're not treating any diseases with it, but we go by the research and we use it because it's been clinically proven, especially in traditional Chinese medicine, but also used in Russia as well for many years as well, and still is in herbal-based medicine. So it's a great product. We use it and have been using it for, like I said, many, many years with a product like Adrenal Soothe. You can find that at stephencabral.com/shop, but you can also get Chinese skullcap from any good quality product. And so that is one way to use it. Typically, like sometimes they say, hey, it can be taken as a tea. It's almost never used as a tea. It's almost always used as a dried powder and taken in capsule-based form in order to get a clinical dosage that does have a real effect. All right. So that's our herb of the week. Again, I love being able to bring you some of my favorites. This week's book review is called Thrivers. So this is a book that I just read over the past week or so. It's called The Surprising Reasons Why Some Kids Struggle and Other Kids Shine. So I always like to alternate. I alternate my reading quite a bit. Honestly, it's mainly research. Like a lot of it's research now because every time I do a course, I like to do a lot more research, and I spend quite a bit of time on that. So this course and group that I'll be doing won't be out until probably January, so another few months from now. But it's all on anti-aging, longevity, like the true things to live to 100 and beyond. But again, that's neither here nor there. So, but I love research, and so I do a lot of research. But I read a lot on psychology. I still obviously read a lot on health, a lot on wellness, a lot on individual lab biomarkers. I read on the future of wellness as well, and a lot of these, both conventional medicine and natural-based health testing, as well as devices. And I also like to read on just trying to be a better father and a better husband and relationships in general, and with my team. So it's kind of just all around. I believe in trying to do your best all around. So this one's by Michelle Borba, and So I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a good book. And many of these things, I think my wife is, an expert at. She actually has a background in education and psychology. So always nice to kind of see her implementing a lot of these things. And I do my best as well. There's no doubt about it. I try to do my best. But in this, basically, every chapter, this is about 250 pages. Every chapter, though, is, okay, stop. Here are the 5 takeaways. Here's how to implement those. And if you want to go deeper, here's some additional books or resources. And that's how I love to learn. It's also how I teach. So inside of Integrative Health Practitioner, if you're becoming a certified health coach through there, you know that after every module, hey, here's some additional books if you want to read. It's actually after every lesson. Here's some additional podcasts. So what I try to do is just make sure that you have almost an unlimited resource, because people are always like, oh, how do you know what next book to read? Well, in this book, I wrote down 5 additional books that I may like to read as well. So, I just, again, flipping through it right now, it talks about how to balance like digital time with your kids, modeling empathic listening, eye to eye, leaning in, one thing in common, like really good psychological based techniques. I think I dog-eared a bunch of pages as well. And basically at the back of the book, which I always love when they do this, is that they have 7 essential character strengths to help kids thrive. And they kind of just walk you through a cheat sheet. So even in the back of the book, just using this alone is pretty nice. Like perseverance, exhibiting fortitude, tenacity, and the resolve to endure so as to bounce back from failure, increase resolve to endure, and develop personal agency. Focusing on, so the ability to teach, growth mindset, goal setting, and learning from failure. Like really, like I think my oldest daughter's she's a little harder on herself than my youngest daughter. And I think that kind of comes along with 2 being the oldest. But, nonetheless, just letting her know, like, it's okay to fail. And by failure, we don't mean like you didn't do a good job. Like You put in effort, you tried, you worked hard. What did you learn from it so that if you did it again, there might be a different outcome, right? Like that's the thing, is learning or growing. So just trying to teach that. And then the outcomes, what you're looking for from the growth mindset is determination and drive. The goal setting, you're really looking over just self-mastery and agency, meaning like, hey, you're taking control of your life. Like teaching your kids, hey, let's set a plan and let's follow through on it. And then the learning from failure is the self-sufficiency. Like, hey, this is what happened, but you're okay. You're okay, right? What did you learn from it? How can we use that maybe in other areas of life? And they have a bunch of these. So again, I always like just to share with fun books. And for anybody out there thinking about starting a family or maybe already has a family, these are some nice things, I think, to check out. All right, that book is called Thrivers, and I'll link it up at $23.94. All right, and last but never least, we have our research studies for the week. They're both based on sound. And if you've been listening to the podcast for any number of years or months, you've probably heard me talk about something called binaural beats. And maybe you're tired of me talking about binaural beats, but here's the thing. During my most stressful times, I fall back on binaural beats. I basically fall back on putting them on in the morning, putting them on for a walk at lunch, putting them on as I'm getting ready for bed. That's what I do. You don't have to do that, but that's what I do. And it calms all my thoughts of tension or stress or worry or whatever it might be. And when I do that, it just settles me back to a baseline where I can think more logically, clearly, and calmly. And the science now is proving that out over and over and over. So when you hear about these things that sound a little fringe, as long as they're safe, like don't do things that are unsafe. Don't do things that are unproven. A lot of this stuff with recommending pharmaceuticals now to people who don't need it, like let's be careful with those things. But if these things are safe, maybe we look into it. And for the most part, they're free. And free is a nice price as well, because there's enough stuff in life to have to pay, money for. So the first one is, this literally just came out last month. How sound reduces pain. So newly identified brain circuits may point to more effective pain therapies. This was out of the National Institute of Health. Scientists have identified the neural mechanisms through which sound blunts pain, and this was done, of course, in mice. It always starts in mice. The findings could inform development of safer methods to treat pain. Okay, well, what did it actually find? It found, and I'll link up the whole study for you. So what they did is they played classical music, and again, you can see this done with binaural beats as well. But they were imaging the brain at the same time. So again, they have to prove this to be safe, of course, in mice before they do it with humans. I think that's probably a smart thing to do. And what they found is this: they found areas of the brain that acted as a natural analgesic, so it decreased pain. And the way that part of the brain was fired, the same as it would be fired with a pain reliever, right, a medication, was done with the sound. And it's interesting because they played the music at a just perceptible level, which means that when you're playing your binaural beats or classical music, it doesn't have to be loud. And actually, you may get benefit from playing it softer and having it in the background. I mean, I thought this was a remarkable study because, again, these are always being looked at in terms of dentistry and medical surgery. People who go to the dentist are oftentimes very stressed, very anxious, right? A lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness. And that is, I shared the story a couple weeks back on binaural beats and how a decade ago I was using it in my practice, and it was actually developed for dentists like 30 years ago. And so that's when I found out about it, maybe like 10, 12 years ago. And I've just really loved it. It's always been a part of my practice, and it's because it's inexpensive and it works. So the second one I want to share with you, though, is this one's on memory. I'm going to link up this as well. It's a 5-page paper. You don't have to read it, of course, if you don't want, but you can. And it's called The Effects of Binaural Beats Stimulation Compared to Classical Music on the Memory of Senior High School Students. And it was a randomized control study. So they set up a few groups: classical music, binaural beats, and just control. And what they found is that both classical music and binaural beats, let me read it verbatim. Okay, so scores in both classical music and binaural beats stimulation groups improved with an increase of almost 20% respectively. The difference between the increase in scores was between binaural beats and classical music was not significant, meaning like both got good results or great results, classical and binaural beats. Now, the conclusion, though, was that the data was significant. So exposure to either binaural beats stimulation, so that just means listening to it has to be with headphones, all right? Binaural beats has to be with headphones. Classical music does not have to be with headphones. However, I think you would get better benefits. All right, so exposure to either binaural beats stimulation or classical music provided statistically and clinically significant increases in memory. So pretty phenomenal. And again, this can be played in the background while studying or while doing your work for both children and adults. Again, if you have not used it yet, use it with meditation, use it with work or stress reduction. I love to use it. I really do. I'll put it on. And you can right now, you can use it actually for free, right? Just go inside of the EquiLife, the iUbowen by EquiLife app. Use it for free right now, especially while our free our free period is going on right now. You can just go to stephencabral.com/app. That's it. stephencabral.com/app. Just use it. We've got all sorts of different binaural beats in there. We've got meditations in there. And just enjoy it. Just use it. Take 10 minutes just to close your eyes, relax, breathe in through your nose and then gently out through your mouth, however you want to do it, but just relax, breathe. I'm telling you right now, you will feel a marked difference after just 10 minutes of doing this. No doubt about it. All right. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll link it all up at stephencabral.com/2394. And I will be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls. Have a great weekend.